Hey guys, thanks for joining me on another little journey. This is sort of expressive piece or a personal piece, I suppose you could say. So I just wanted to have fun with it. I've sped up the video at some point just because it can get too tedious, but I also wanted to leave everything in to show that it's just a lot of a back and forward process and it's not always that smooth. But I think the searching part is fun to see because it's a lot of accidents sort of happen. Even though I sort of have a vague idea of what I want, I don't always know how to get there. So I think that's true with a lot of artists. So I want to do three figures next to each other. Okay, so three figures. What did I want to put in? Well, I'd had some email back and forth with a lawyer that I'd used in a horrible divorce process, and the guy was still trying to charge me after the final thing came through, which I actually had to end up doing on my own because he sort of was just useless at the end of the story. So at this time, I was sort of filled with kind of negative energy, and I wanted to just depict three characters from this background. And so I was kind of thinking of devilish characters, shitty people, I guess. But done in a style, a bit of humor, and not taking it all too seriously, and using this as a sort of therapy opportunity, I guess, and just as subject matter for a painting. So I've got three characters here, and I love doing sequential characters, putting a bit of a cartoony element to it, exaggerating things. So I'm just starting off with these sort of circular shapes, just sort of searching shapes. As far as the colors go, I like using a sort of base of sort of earthy, maybe some sort of muddy colors, because it just allows me to get some emotion into it. I think it's fine to sort of put some bright poppy colors in afterwards, but this just sort of has more of a resonance for me, and it just gives it a bit of depth. I think I love how the masters would work. They would use sepias and umbras and bit of charcoal and all that just to find you'd search out their shapes, and then it would make it, I think, much more exciting to sort of put a bit of white and a little bit of color on top. I sort of often overdo the color just because I guess I have that sort of cartoony mentality, and the South African light that I grew up with just sort of makes things more dramatic. I think strong line and color is what I usually go to all the time. But right now, I'm just sort of still finding my characters. I don't really like always just using a small brush at this point, but I seem to have just picked that up for now. Yeah, I guess here I'm just trying to, I think just using a palette knife makes things less fiddly. You just start working with bigger shapes. And I think it gives that element of unpredictability. Just using a little bit of a mint color paint that I bought pretty cheap at this market near me. So yeah, I'm just using the palette knife to just get bigger shapes, and out of those bigger shapes I'll see little details that I can embellish on. Just keeping it loose at the moment and just sort of see what comes out of it. I think that really is the most fun part of painting. Is just this. Well, all of it is fun, really. Applying the final bits, but I don't like it when it gets a bit nerve-wracking. You don't want to mess things up. So I think this is nice because it doesn't matter if things don't work out. You'll just paint over it. I like using a thick black line. I think for me, it's the most expressive part of my arsenal, I guess you could call it, is the thick black line. Or just the thing I feel most comfortable with and I feel is the most expressive part. So the equipment I bought at this Chinese market, I can tell you the canvas is not bad canvas. It's quite a good canvas. It's primed. It's quite thick canvas. It's surprising because it kind of shows that you don't have to. It's not only these sort of big brands that you find in the UK and in the States that are worth working on. You can find there's so many producers now around the world that are competing. It's the same with a lot of things. So I've been pleasantly surprised with some of these products. I use a good quality. I use Liquitex gloss varnish over my work. Whether the paint quality is good or bad. I always use good quality acrylics, but in this case, I don't really know how good these paints are in the long run. But I varnish them anyway, so it should keep them well protected for many, many, many years. Liquitex is great, and the colors feel fine. I mean, you can see that there's good light fastness. They're quite bright. They're strong. Some of these are Golden and Liquitex brands that I brought over with me. As I've said, I'm in Portugal at the moment for a month or two. So I sort of have to buy equipment as I go. And I mean this canvas is it's pretty damn good. It's fine. It takes a lot of rough handling, so that's mostly all I need it for. Anyway, so here we go with another character on the right. I sort of thought I'd do a sort of maybe a witch, a money-hungry witch flying on a broomstick. So I don't know if you can see that it's a lot of fun just doing very loose, sketchy type stuff and then finding the better shapes and that inside of that. So you give yourself a lot of options with sort of a thick line that can sort of tone down to grey a little bit. It's quite a sketchy style, but you can quite easily put some nice chunks of flat colour inside of that. And I think it's quite effective. It keeps that energy of the line work. For me, that's the most important thing. So I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea to sort of have that cartoony element, but I've always been influenced by guys like, Basquiat, Picasso, even de Kooning had some unbelievably beautiful line work, as well as Twombly. These are all older guys that I was heavily influenced by. Today there's also a lot of beautiful work out there that I see constantly. The thing, there's just so much of it. You open Instagram and there's just so much good stuff to see. So I kind of think, the good thing about not having had the internet was you could sort of focus on a few people at a time. Right now, it's just, for me, I find it just overwhelming. Another artist you should check out if you haven't already is George Condo. Great line work. References Picasso quite a lot. But he's got his own spin on it, and it's beautiful stuff. So sort of just coming to the end of this, so I've sped up a little bit here. Just, playing around, putting in bigger chunks of color. You're going to see in a second. This is where I kind of ended up. And I just sort of didn't want to drag this video out too long. So appreciate you guys watching.